Right, we got it. Let's get these alerts off. They're off the screen. Good morning, everyone. It is technically the second day of the week, but it's Monday. And you know what we talk about. We talk about mindset and how do you kind of kickstart your week. But good morning, everyone. This is Carroll-Sue, aka Naughty Boss, live with two.
Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Janis, aka Wellness Diva 5.0. Those who are viewing this video or watching us live, you may seem that I'm in a different area and I am downstairs in my new office. Yay! And I will try to do a video or something on my cell phone at some point just to kind of show you how things are set up. But anyways, Mindset Monday, we weren't on for a few days. That's okay. But the great thing about that is we're still spreading the message. So today, Mindset Monday, what I always come back to is a routine. I mean, that's for every day. And I think it's cemented for me on a Monday because that time to always build the foundation, because sometimes cracks appear. And what do you think about cracks in the foundation? What's your take on that?
Well, I think when you think of a crack or you think of an earthquake or you feel, that shake, it is there because there's a shift. There's a physical shift, obviously, with the earthquake. But when you have a crack in your foundation or a crack in the way you're feeling, I also think of it as a shift. It's a kind of a gentle reminder, not like an earthquake, but a gentle reminder to say, hey, let's get you in check again. Let's get you back on track. What are you missing that's kind of distracting you from your goals, your vision? And there's many ways to apply that. We could apply that towards, obviously, what we always talk about, health and wellness, our lives, because there's so much of the world that impacts our health and wellness, our mindset, how we think, and where we are going to align, our energy with. Do you want to align your energy with negative energy? Because when you start to do that, and you'll frequently, and actually this kind of came up really over, I would say over the last week or so, while we've shared about, how you deal with certain situations that impact your health and wellness. And I apologize, I've had a lot of fun over the last 2 weeks. So I'm a little hoarse, not with my normal, voice, but I'm in my hoarsey mode. So you guys are going to have to deal with it. I'm so sorry, because I'm thinking to myself, I know how I think I sound, but I don't know what I really sound like, and I don't want to go there. Anywho, we talk about, what little pivots, divots, cracks in, our journey and how that renegotiates where we're supposed to go. Or maybe it's a wake-up call, or maybe it's a gentle nudge to say, ooh, halt, you're going the wrong direction. And a lot of times we don't listen to our own mindset. We don't listen to our own bodies. We let other things distract. And the thing that actually came up over the last week or so is the distraction with social media. And to give you an example of that, we've been sharing the journey of really being civic minded and getting involved with schools, school boards, education, and curriculum, what is being introduced to your child that you may or may not like, or that you have questions. And a lot of people do not, there's pros and cons of how much involvement a parent should be allowed and or a stakeholder or grandparent would not. And the question has come up because obviously what was going on in a particular district that I'm involved with was really asking some hard questions. And this past week and a half or so, you could say there's been some cracks in the foundation to either wake us up and or to make sure that we don't allow the other distractions around us to interfere with our core foundation. And what happens is too frequently, a lot of people like to, argue or debate on social media, and how that impacts your health and your wellness and your foundation of what you're going after, what you really are trying to accomplish. And how do you navigate and kind of ignore the noise, ignore the cracks that are people trying to chip away at you. And a person asked me, a really great question within the group that I've been working with. You always use the word posture, that you're postured in your position. And she asked me, she said, well, give me an example. And she said, I've heard some different words used to describe things and how you use that to kind of get you through these kind of cracks on the foundation. And I said, well, when you think of the word posture, at least I do, I automatically think of my body, my stance. Are my shoulders back? Am I standing upright? Am I sitting upright? Am I slouching? Am I not showing good posture, good core, holding in my core in? But I also use that for my mindset, because when I think of, is my mind in a good postured moment? Am I allowing the distractions of people that really are using their opinions as facts to kind of crack my foundation? And do I put like some super glue in the crack to mend it and push it aside? And I said, when you're postured in your beliefs, you don't need to prove the point. You don't need to try to fix the foundation that they're trying to crack, because it may be rocking you a little bit, but it's actually their foundation that's cracked. And what I mean by that is faulted. It's really faulted, because if you want to go after people on social media because they're taking their civic mind to a new place for health and helping those that have no voice, in this case, it's the children, what does that say about your foundation? So, there's many metaphors that you can use, but I always say that sometimes a crack is not so bad. It's, are you ignoring the crack? Because what happens when you ignore a crack? The crack's going to get bigger, right? Now the foundation's got this bigger crack. The foundation's going to become loose, and you may not be able to repair it. So that's kind of my analogy with that.
I'm so glad that how you explained that, because, I think what people, and then in general, I'm not saying a specific group or anything.
Right.
I think in general, what people don't realize is that an opinion is subjective.
Mm-hmm.
Objective is meaning learning about the facts as they are the truth. Now, the problem comes that I've seen over these past couple of years is that certain groups of people cannot agree on what the facts are. So therefore, you have everything that is, in my opinion, distorted. That's my point of view. That's subjective. However, if I say today in North Haven, it's raining, and that's not so, by the way, it's very cold
Good.
and it's sunny. But if I say that it's raining, that's not fact. So, and that's just kind of, and I really could go on and talk about that. But I think when you look at those cracks, is your energy worth putting in or debating somebody online? In my opinion, no. As much as I want to, and I know that I have in the past, I am not immune to that. But to make a long story short, when you have those conversations, I think what's really kind of sad in a way is that if someone doesn't agree with your opinion, you're immediately thought of as racist. I think that term is overused. It's not used properly, and it's only a convenience for those who cannot see their own cracks. And I'll just leave the cracks at that.
Yeah, and the other thing I like to add is there's a time and place, and really our civic responsibility in what we're working on is time and place. So much of what goes on social media, people think you're going to change someone's mind on social media through an online argumentative debate or baiting debate, whatever it may be. Guess what, people? You're not. You are not going to change someone's mind. You may be able to impact someone that maybe didn't think of something a certain way, but as far as truly changing someone's mind, you're not going to do that. So for me, it's wasted energy, especially where you're debating, you're trying to debate something that's presumed to be fact when it's actually an opinion. So you can't debate someone's opinion. It's their opinion. It's their prerogative to feel whatever they feel. But if they now translate the opinion into a known fact or what they perceive as a known fact, that's a disservice. And certain people can read into that. Other people may get swayed by something like that. I just don't have the time or the energy, because for me, there's always a time and a place that things will be revealed, whether it's a debate, whether it's a path going forward on one way, whether it's a direction of where something is going. It's a time and a place for it. And social media is not always, well, in my opinion, it's never the best avenue. I mean, I love social media for the connection of people, for finding out some general information. Obviously, getting the alerts. I got an exciting alert last night about my Tommy, so I'm super pumped about that. He is coming out of retirement, this short little retirement that he had. So for those kinds of things, that's cool. And actually, John got the alert, and we were out to dinner last night at a friend's house. So he goes, "You're not going to believe this. Tommy's coming back." And I kind of, the thought was obviously tossed around. Is he really going to retire? Is he not? And, I think when push came to shove, he wanted to retire his way and not, again, directed by media or social media telling him when he's going to retire. I'm going to do it my way. And that's one of the disservices of social media. Sometimes, a narrative goes out there, and it's because media, the way that it is today, social media and news networks, they feel that they are the be and end all of how the news is reported. And we often talk about that. We compare this time to, say, the days of Walter Cronkite, where many people did not even realize that Walter Cronkite was a Democrat. Mm-hmm. You never knew about his political ideologies. You never thought you were getting a narrative or a one-sided opinion, factual, not fact type of reporting. He reported the news, and he always ended with, "That's the way it was." That's what he did. He didn't interject. There were, some meaningful moments and certain stories that he interjected, obviously with the assassination of JFK, things like that. But as far as reporting the news, he didn't put a spin on it. And sadly, where the media kind of started that narrative, it's also now on social media, because social media does the same thing. People have a certain narrative, a certain bias. And of course, everyone has a bias. I mean, we're human beings. Of course, we've got biases. But in certain positions, whether you're an elected official or when you're in a position of influence and you are there as an elected first person to do a job, you have to make sure that you are trying to, as best you can, leave your biases, set them aside, and make sure that you're doing and making decisions based on what's best for the majority. And sadly, now that, our civic duty truly is to question that, now all of a sudden civic duty is taboo. As parents or grandparents, you have no say what goes on in the schools. You're a taxpayer in a certain town. Have any say with, how we're going to do this or do that. You're the school committee. Well, we're going to just spend money the way we want and, let the towns deal with it. If you start questioning those things, all of a sudden that is taboo. And that's the sad piece to it, because everyone should always be civic minded, knowing what's going on in their community, their schools, their towns, their cities. And there's nothing wrong with making sure that there's check and balances. And our life has to be check and balances. So why wouldn't that be the same for your schools and your towns and, things that you're involved with, your community? So important to be civic minded. But a lot of people, they kind of crumble because with that, sadly comes, people pointing figures. And it is difficult to kind of step away from that and say, I'm not getting involved with that kind of stuff. And you just have to be postured in your belief that you're doing the right thing, be open-minded to change. But also part of being postured is admitting when you're wrong. A lot of people have a hard time with that. And someone said, well, how could that be postured? Because sometimes people are wrong. I'm wrong, you're right. Sometimes we allow opinions to get in. Or how many times have we chatted about something, whatever it may be, on our podcast and realize, oops, we gave the wrong information. We are so postured in how we stand that we say, just for correction, the day before we stated A, B, or C, we had the wrong information. There's nothing wrong with admitting you're wrong. And I think sometimes people kind of like, they just want to like skirt that under the table. They don't want to deal with it. You know what? I think it makes someone more showing that they have that human side to them, that it's okay. Because guess what? What do we always talk about? We are all perfectly imperfect.
Exactly. And I really refer to that as clickbait. And it makes me think of this time when we were podcasting that first year, and we were talking about a sensitive subject. And we always say that we welcome opposing viewpoints. We do, because, you know, we want to learn as well. Like, why is your certain, whatever the subject is, why is your opinion the way it is? Or what can we learn from you that maybe we didn't know? And I can think of this one particular person who did have who was live. And as I'm monitoring what's going on with the Zoom and the live, I'm also monitoring on my cell phone the comments so I can respond accordingly. And this person who had a totally different viewpoint, I could not keep up with the comments, and I was as much as possible, and, you know, welcomed her to, you know, chat with us further. And because in my mind, I am trying to be respectful. Even though I totally disagree with this person, you know, I was totally respectful, but in return, what I received was that I was patronizing this person, and therefore I was racist.
Well, ironic.
And I laughed at that. I totally laughed at that.
You're not even going to believe this when I tell you, if it's the same person I'm thinking of, that same thing is occurring right now in the local, there is a local, you know how sometimes, different towns, different, areas have, like a what's happening page, or, what's going on our community page. And this person's not from that area, but she's chiming in the same narrative and being argumentative with people, and, trying to bait certain people into a conversation. And I don't like debate, so I just don't get into that. So that's so funny you brought it up, because it's happening again.
That's so funny. So today I want to share something about something, but it does not relate to nothing about nothing. I just want to share this new book that I'm reading called If by Mark Batterson. Mm-hmm. And all I have to say is OMG. So he's a New York Times bestseller, author of The Circle Maker, and I have that book as well. Trading your if only regrets for God's what if.
Oh, I love that.
And I think a couple weeks ago we were talking about the if factor. Mm-hmm. So this is a book that you can't put down. However, he does suggest that you read it one chapter a day to soak in his message. And he relates it to obviously different things in the Bible. I just want to read something to you. After he writes the chapter, it's like his reflection, like he wants us to think, okay? So he said, what if you started acting like an agent of grace, looking for opportunities to love people when they least expect it and least deserve it? ? Obviously gives you time to think. And I just love this book. So I highly recommend it if you're looking for a new book to buy, a new book to read. Absolutely phenomenal.
And a shout out again to Sandy Kern, because funny thing, we had friends, Jack and Liz were up for the week from New Hampshire. And like me, she loves to cook. And like me, we talk about the same, stomach issues, and how, as we age, and we talk about this periodically through our health and wellness podcast, that, you are what you eat. And, as you age, or as your, hormones, just things get reset in your body, you have to like reevaluate the food groups that you're eating. Are they, still enjoyable, but are you still getting a good reaction out of them? Because a lot of times our body changes, and we know that your body resets, I guess, every 6 to 7 years. So I was telling her about Sandy's cookbook, and she goes, "Oh my God, do you have a copy of it here?" I said, "Of course I do." So she was reading through it. She again, excellent cook. So she was highly, highly impressed. And and she goes, "Oh, I love how she incorporated a lot of the stuff that she incorporated. We had talked about years ago regarding her daughter, because her daughter was having a lot of stomach issues, and she was young and having all these problems, and how they had to kind of readapt different recipes to make them healthier." And she goes, "Oh my God, just remember we talked about that?" I said, "You're right, we did." So she was super excited. So I said to her, "Yeah, there's a couple new recipes she's coming out. She's working on a new cookbook for, the holidays or whatever." And she says, "Oh, I already ordered it." I said, "Well, the Christmas cookbook said." "Oh yeah." She says, No, this one." She goes, "You went to the bathroom, I ordered it." She loved the layout. She loved, obviously, the illustrations are beautiful. Really, the font. She, like me, appreciated the bigger font size on the book, and the whole layout was just perfectly done, made sense, having your measurements and all that in the beginning, and really just the history behind what she was doing. She thought it was an interesting read as well. And sometimes with a cookbook, you don't think of it as an interesting read, because you're there just to get the recipe. But Sandy does an awesome job with really incorporating, what she was going through, what she had to change, and really enlightening us on different ingredients that have so much powerful ingredients naturally in them that really can change your health and wellness and your gut health. So, Sandy, you got another order.
That's awesome. And a sidebar to that, she's been, I'm just so proud of her. This is something that she has wanted for so long, to get her cookbook published.
Right.
And of course, she's been on, local TV, local radio, so many exciting things. But I think one of my favorite stories that she recently told me was she was at a book signing and had a great conversation with this mom and dad and their young little boy. And she was displaying her gluten-free, non-dairy chocolate chip cookies. And the little boy said to the mom, "Oh, can I have one of those?" "Oh, no, you can't." And then Sandy explained to the parents, it's gluten-free, dairy-free, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, he was able to have a cookie. They were the parents' joy, she said, that they felt for the son, his smile, after he took that first bite, was priceless.
Oh.
And she recently saw them at another book signing. They happened to be there and stopped by to say hello, and were just filling her in on how they just use her cookbook. And
well, you think about, two of the recipes that she has in there is the chocolate chip cookies and the gluten-free, dairy-free mac and cheese. So, those are staples for a kid.
Yeah. And I thought about that, that second meeting where they gave her an update, like that is, to me, is mind-blowing. And
that's awesome.
Yeah. And, awesome stories coming out. So yeah, kudos to Sandy. Mindset Monday is so much more, I think we need to give it a lot more credit, because mindset is a key. Start building that foundation. As I'm trying to get situated in my new office, of course, there's always a lot of things going on, but go back to what you know and be kind, be generous. Mindset Monday, always blessed and grateful. My name is Janis, aka Wellness Diva 5.0, and I'm with two
sisters, and this is Carroll-Sue, aka Naughty Bus Live. I'm about to get my pickleball on, hydrating, of course, and I'm super excited because the new Thrive 2.0 water. One of the things that I love about it, because it's fusion alkaline water, is that there's a real high amount of potassium. And, potassium there's so much goodness to potassium, what it does for your gut health, your overall health and wellness. And frequently, obviously, the go-to is going to the banana, but you can only eat so many bananas in a day. And I don't like to take extra, I've got so many great vitamins and supplements with our 3 simple steps, but I was really super excited that it has the potassium in it. And it just, I love the shape of the bottle. A lot of times with the water bottles too, if you're on the go and you don't want to take because the water bottles that you actually fill up, sometimes they don't always fit the cup holder. This one does, and I like that. So I'm super pumped about that. But yes, I'm about to get some pickleball on, and it is Monday Mindset. It is a day for you to set up your week for organization. So, and you have those key pieces. And guess what? If you got a little crack going on in your foundation, pause, reflect, do a little journaling, listen to some music, get out there and dance, sing a song, change that mindset, be kind, pay it forward. We will see you tomorrow for Triumph Tuesday. And I believe we're coming on tomorrow night.
Yes.
It's a Tuesday. Yep. We're going to do it probably about 7 o'clock, somewhere around there. So everyone, you have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Bye, everyone.